Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 2 of Trench Talk. It is Shane alongside Coach Phil, as always. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. In episode 2, we're going to take a different route comparatively what we did episode 1, and we're going to talk more about the defensive and offensive responsibilities when it comes to zone blocking and run defense. That's what this episode is going to be about. We're going to go over different responsibilities on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball, what your interior D linemen, your edges are trying to do in the run game, and go over some zone blocking and big on big blocking on the offensive side of the ball on this episode. So if you're listening to a podcast as on a podcast form on Spotify or Apple Podcast, you may want to head over to YouTube for this episode as we will have some visual learning here. We'll talk it through, so you won't be totally out of the loop. But if you want to see what we're talking about, you should head over to our YouTube page and check it out there because we'll have it all posted there. And yeah, Coach, how you doing? I know it's been kind of a quieter week now with free agency. No NFL, no CFL, UFL is coming up. They just released their uniforms. There's been a lot of chatter around
Mhm.
alternate football outside of the NFL on Twitter and social media spaces the last couple of days. But how you doing? How's school going? Um, and yeah,
Sorry about that. No, I'm good, man. I mean, it's weird not having football right now. It's weird, but it's that weird dead period where basketball's going on right after the All Star break. We still got basketball, baseball's coming up here soon. So, hey, we just gonna talk football and try to get our fix however we can, man.
yeah, and I mean, if you haven't seen it on the UFL just released a bunch of the new jerseys. Some really bad ones, some really good ones. Uh, Personally, I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of the spring league football in the past. I've been able to catch a couple of games here and there, just with everything else going on. Um, what's your take on the USFL, the XFL, the spring? You're in the states. What's your take on the spring ball down there?
Actually, it's pretty interesting watching some of the games when it was the X of 2020 when it was the XFL. Man, it was some good games that they had going on. They had PJ Walker. You had different guys that actually did come through Canada at one point in time. And then the USFL, XFL, all that. The merger was weird, but it still brought out really good games. And I tell people check it out, man. It's alternative. It'll give you a nice fix. You might see some players actually. Cam Eccles, he last place was with Winnipeg. He's
Yep.
with Birmingham. Birmingham once again has a stacked team, and hopefully that they can get some guys out there. Lorenzo Malden, he's with Louisville. So there's some guys out there right now from Canada that are people we familiar with, but it's a good product, pretty solid.
Yeah, and I mean, Canadian quarterback Taylor Algersma is also down there. I believe also with Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're definitely some ballers. I believe also former Toronto Argonaut D lineman Derek Parrish signed with one of the UFL teams last week after his release with Toronto. But yeah, that's You got your UFL starting in a couple of weeks, I believe, and then
Mm-hmm.
CFL is a couple months away. But 2 months, 3 months away now.
Yeah.
But let's dive right into what today's episode is really about. Um, we'll start on the defensive side of the ball. This is something you were really passionate about. This is one of the reasons why we started this show. Let's talk about the defensive side and their responsibilities, especially the front four or front three, in the run game, and how as a defensive coach, how their responsibilities may not show up on the stat sheet, and if you're not really watching their play, you won't really understand what's going on.
Yeah. So let's start with the first thing you got to do is stop the run. No matter anything else, I don't care what coverage you call. I don't care how many great Hall of Fame DBs you got. If you can't stop the run, your defense is going to falter. And that starts with the guys up in the front line. If you're going to 3-4, it's a little harder because you have three down linemen and there's a difference. When you're in the 3-4, you have a nose, not, not just the guys that can play in the run, like or a Warren Sapp from back in the day. Make things happen. That's 4-3. 3-4 wise, you're looking at a guy just big, nasty. He can plug the hole, but he can take on the and play their gaps and do what they have to do. It's a big responsibility. You're not going to get in on a lot of tackles. It's not going to show up on the stat sheet, but you are still a force within that. Which knows you have a tilt defense nose tackle, or you straight up 4-3 defensive tackle and nose tackle. It all depends. Your edges, they're playing that outside. They're going up 3 yards up, 3 yards in. They're going to set the edge. In a 3-4, you got your edges. They're more rushers, but they're in the run game, they're going to build the fence. They're going to build that wall. And it just all depends on what you want your run game to, what your run defense to be. What are you trying to negate? Are you trying to stop ISOs? Are you trying to stop draws? Are you trying to stop leads? If you're playing outside zone or inside zone, what do you want the first thing you're going to stop? Because you're not always going to be able to stop everything on defense, and that's the misconception a lot of fans have is, well, you can stop everything. No, you can't. You have to be willing to sacrifice something as a defense, whether it's the intermediate ball, the deep ball, the short game, certain run games, whatever the case may be. That's a 3-4, 4-3 front, and just overall a little bit of, we're not gonna get too deep into it, but just a little bit of like responsibilities.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree. I think the misconception, I think it's also on offense, right? You're not going to score on every drive. You're not going to beat the defense on every play, right? They're paid professionals. They take their jobs very seriously. But I agree, right? You have to give something to make sure, and you just hope you don't get beat.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up this. This is a free play designer by playdesignerpro.com. Great little tool for our listeners at home who want to practice play designs or kind of have an understanding of how things work. And we're just going to show what the inside leverage is and everything on a defense and how it attacks on a 4-3 defense. You can ignore the corners and the receivers because they don't really matter in this play. But we're going to focus on the big boys up front.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. We're going to focus on the big boys up front, where obviously this is 12. This is CFL style. This is a great tool. They have you have different defensive fronts. You have different 12. You can do 12 on 12, 11 on 11. It's a great little tool. That's free to use. So let's go. You tell me a basic, if you're looking to stop a run, what would be your ideal defensive front doing on a strong side? If you're strong sided and you're trying to stop a strong side run.
Front, we would drop the linebacker down the line, keep it like a 5-2 look almost. But it all depends on just drop that strong side line down, play to the strength. Play to the strength. In certain situations, we can drop the weak side linebacker. That way we can get it so that we want. But most of the time, we won't have jump over one gap, edge on a little bit more into the D gap, and then it's tricky. That's a tricky call. Okay. Okay, slide the edge over a little bit to the right, to his right. Yep, right about there. Boom, right there. Mike's the nose is perfect. I don't know if I would bring that edge over a little bit because you're giving up. If he cuts back, goes backside, fucked. So I'm gonna leave him right there. Now the linebackers, Slide him over slide him over to the right real quick. Boom, right there. Now is it the will or the that's the will. Slide him over. Hover over
Which
the
way?
B to the right over the B gap. There it is. Because if I got that Sam linebacker out now, this is CFL, correct? This is Canadian, so I want a hybrid guy, be able to play that third receiver right there. Good matchup right there, and then boom, I can have one over the top right here. He's gonna shade over the top of him, kind of like not bracket, but kind of just play over top of him. If he wants to drop, he can drop. We're good to go. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with that.
I feel like this is a defense we see a lot in the CFL. Like if you watch the defense's movement and like in pre-snap and whatnot, this is kind of what a CFL defense will look like on a majority of play, with that Sam corner linebacker kind of either moving up or moving out, depending on if there's any motion. But I feel like this is actually a pretty solid representation of what to expect on the defensive side of the ball. And this is what defenses will represent in a 4-3 more often than not in the CFL. And I think that Sam linebacker is like your kind of your wild card play to play.
He's prime. He is the X factor for most of the defenses, because the 4-3 is the most safest defense. It's not necessarily it's the most overall greatest defense, but it's the most balanced, and it gives you advantages.
Yeah, I mean, you get to load the box, right? You still have you have 6 on 5 with
Your numbers game is good.
Sam is technically trying to read the Y and the backer, because if he reads a run play, he can collapse right in and blow everything up a lot easier than the Will or the Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for our American listeners, American viewers, the Sam linebacker in the CFL is like a beefed up nickel linebacker. I think that's the best way to put it, is that it's the guys who are a little bit too big to play corner or half, but just a little too small to play like a traditional linebacker spot down south and on the 11-on-11 side of the field. That's who kind of takes over in that Sam linebacker spot up here.
So kind of like 6 foot, between 5'11", 6'1", at that, maybe one from 195 to about 210.
Yeah, who's athletic enough to stop, like to go up against quick receivers, and also physical enough to stop the run.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are. I would arguably say it's probably the hardest position in the CFL to play because of that alone. Like you're supposed to be able to guard or defend like a corner,
Mm-hmm.
and run stop like a linebacker.
You're more so like the key to most offense. Like we're watching him.
Yeah.
Most, like in the States, they're reading safety, or they're reading like what linebackers, like the edge, what we on our RPO. That Sam linebacker, that dude is the key to what the defense is going to do.
Yeah, and like I think we see more Sam blitzes than anything in the CFL.
Oh yeah, Montreal, when they went on their Grey Cup run, they were perfected that blitz.
Yeah,
not being afraid to put 7 guys in the box, not being afraid to make them blitz off the outside in the alley and make plays. That fucked a lot of teams up.
Yeah, I mean, having your what was it, Beverett coming in, and you mix in a linebacker or a safety blitz or a corner blitz in with your Sam linebacker blitz, you're going to have a trouble kind of reading that consistently.
But you also have to have a strong front. We talk about the front, inside the box, the fronts. You got to have a strong guy like a Mustafa Johnson, a Sean Lemon, Isaac Ademi Bergman. Those guys inside on the front line that's going to control a gap. that's going to allow the linebackers to flow, to have those DBs be able to fly and go make plays in the alley or set the edge and set the front and do whatever they need to do to stop runs. 'Cause remember, they played Toronto, they played Hamilton, they played Toronto, and then they played Winnipeg. 3 teams that can run the ball when necessary, but they can still let it fly. That was perfect. So this is a great representation of what we see now in the CFL. Whereas back in the day, it was more conventional, I guess, because I'm still learning about it. So I could be right, I could be wrong. I'm still green at this shit a little bit, but it was conventional. It was what you saw in the States, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely evolved over the last probably like 10 years
Mm-hmm.
where like the edges have gotten quicker. Like they've always been quick. Like, they've always like the Vince Wilforks of the NFL could not survive in the CFL
No.
at any point of the CFL's history. Like there is just too much field to cover. Like it's just not one of those styles of games. But I think we've seen the evolution of your physical, quick defensive players who may not have the physical strength to come out of college going right into the NFL, who have now started to who've really benefited from just being able to use your quickness and finesse moves so
Yes.
much more than what you would see in. Like, I think this is like the inability. Like I won't say inability to have a tight end, but the lack of tight end in the CFL has played a huge factor in how teams have transformed their defensive fronts.
When I first started learning about the CFL, it blew my mind. Like a guy like KSB, a Kean Schaefer Baker, in the States, he would be considered a tight end.
Yeah,
But in the NFL, but in the CFL, he has the autonomy where he could be anything out there. He could be in the slot. He can be out by the numbers. He could be whatever he wants to be. That's incredible for a guy 6'4", 6'5", a buck 95 can be a weapon like that when healthy. You look at it, and even in the NFL, you look at a guy like a Travis Kelce. Uh, what's that boy's name from Arizona that just broke the record? Broke the record. I forgot his name. You know what I'm talking
McBride,
about?
Trey
Yeah,
McBride.
McBride. Yeah, most tight ends now are not built like 10, 15 years ago, like Antonio Gates, all those guys. These guys got some slenderness to them. They're rangy. Their catch radius is crazy. They can block. It's nasty what we can see in the CFL, but with the play call creativity to get them the ball. Offense has so much advantage now. It's hard for us as no excuse. But as a defense, it's challenging. We do play on our heels a lot, you bastards.
Yeah, I mean defense is like it's all reactive, so to speak, right? Like we'll go back to the little play graph in a little bit, but the defense is all reactive, right? You
Yeah,
don't know where the play is going. You don't know what the play is. It is all reactive right now. And and I think this is the one thing that annoys me when it comes to the conversations around how a team performs or doesn't perform because we don't know the play call.
no,
We don't
kind
know
of.
what was called or how it was supposed to be. So we can sit here and be like, hey, like they messed up. Well, did the players mess up or was there just a wrong play call? And if it and how much of the wrong play call is actually a wrong play call versus the opposing coordinator who's making a better play call?
Yeah, it's a chess match, and it's also there are so many damn tendencies within the game that you can read where teams get into certain situations down in distance what offense consider their bread and butter or their core plays, they're going to go back to that at some point in time. Sometimes a defense can just overpower you and they just outsmarted an offense. It happens. There's no need to make excuses and be like, well, what is he calling? What's the play call? But you're never gonna know because what that offensive coordinator is calling. Most of the time, offensive coordinators, they stick to what they know. It's only in certain situations where they go into their bag and be like, hey, I got this right here in case I need it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of funny how we always assume these offensive coordinators because we see it all the time, right? They have these, especially I think we see it more in the NFL because there's more offensive play callers on the sidelines. The CFL, there's still a lot of them that are in the booths, but they have these giant play sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a misconception that everything on that call sheet is available
No.
to them and like theoretically, yes, they should be available, but doesn't mean they actually are. You know,
Okay.
it's one of those things where like it's there if you want to use it and if it makes sense to use it, but you're not going into the game expecting or planning to use it.
Okay. For all the people out there that think that they're Monday morning quarterbacks and think they know everything that goes into game planning during the week, I'm going to give you some behind the scenes stuff real quick. Monday, we are most of the time reevaluating what we did wrong for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Whatever level you're at, Monday is reevaluate because we didn't met on Saturday. We already done met. We done already got our ass chewing. Tuesday is implement. Wednesday, we're preparing. Thursday, walkthrough. Friday, I'm speaking from high school, walkthrough, last walkthrough, half rack, and then Friday we play. High school wise, not a lot of time. You only probably got 2 days to implement maybe 10 or 20 plays on top of the 15, depending on your openers on offense, which usually is like 10 to 15 play calls that you're going to stick with through the first quarter going into the second quarter. Defensively, we already have scouted. We already know what we're going to do. We just got to walk through it, go through it. We go through our EDDs. We don't hit during the week. Boom, we're ready to go. Because defense, we're hitting. We're not going to be hitting each other during the damn week. Are you crazy? College, shorter window. NFL, CFL, much shorter window. So for y'all to sit there and think, well, he has all these calls on this play sheet, on his play call sheet. No, because a lot of times that shit has to be set up perfectly for him to be able to go into his bag and be like, hey, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to that. We already have a game plan. Most of the time they stick with it. It's not often that coaches deviate from the game plan unless they getting their ass really whooped. Sorry to tell you. Shit.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because yes, a coach might have a playbook of 300 plays because the old saying is if you're a good offense, should be able to run out every single play in any formation they run. Right? Like it doesn't matter if you're in gun, split, I formation, under center. Like it doesn't really matter what the formation is. The saying is you can run any play out of any formation. So just because the playbook is 300 pages or 300 plays deep, physically, the playbook might only be the game plan might only be 75 plays. Right? It could only be 30% of his entire playbook is expected or planned to be used during a game. But you see this giant laminated sheet of plays, and you're like, why aren't things being used? Because you also have situational plays. You have, plays for certain players. And if quarterback A is hurt, these are the plays that quarterback B likes to run and finds the most success in. You have our down and distance. You have your first and long, first and short, second and long, second and medium, second and short, third and short. Are we going third and medium, third and long? Right? There's multiple different situations that these plays are for, and they don't all fit within a game.
See, from a defensive perspective, and I like that you mentioned that you can run any play out of any formation that you have It's just your core. It's just basically saying you have your core plays that you have, whether it's lead, draw, whatever certain play action, whatever your bread and butter plays are. Every coach has them. But as a defense, we're looking at personnel, we're looking at tendencies, and we are heavy on the film. We are heavy at seeing what your front looks like. Because at some point you're gonna have to run the ball. I don't care if you run empty formation the entire damn game. At some point you're gonna have to run the ball. You're not gonna be able to run jets pass or reverse this, reverse that. No, you're not gonna be able to do that. So for us, it's understanding alignment, assignment, your tendencies, your personnel, whatever you have, we're focused on that. And we are making sure that we don't get guy across our face. We make sure we don't let him get inside of us on the front. It's little things that we have to do on defense that makes us successful. It's not just, why is he not calling the fallout blitz? Why is he not doing this? No, we could, and correct me if I'm wrong, we got to set you up to make a mistake so we can dial up our best blitz, our best coverage. We can disguise, we can shift, we can do whatever we have to. Sometimes we got to set you guys up.
Yeah, and like, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up because like here's what a basic zone blocking scheme based off this front would generally look like for most zone off. Like the responsibilities for each player would depend on the formation, but let's say we go with this. Believe it would technically the proper definition would be a 4-3 over.
Mm-hmm.
But based off of this, your I would call them your two back. Most offenses label their backfield. You have your fullback is usually your 3, and your tailback's usually your 2 because it's your second person in the backfield, third person in the backfield. But you have your 2. This is what probably a pistol formation. So your running back, if let's say this would be we always use like S words and W words.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that started with a letter S is strong. Anything that started with a W is weak. So we're gonna call this like a smash 20 smash. So generally your tailback would have the ability to pick a hole. All you're doing in a zone blocking scheme generally is allowing the running back to pick a hole. This is what Le'Veon Bell did really well in Pittsburgh. It's what we saw Kenneth Walker do during the Super Bowl. John Cornish was really good at it in the CFL.
Oh, amazing.
Andrew Harris was really good. Most running backs in the CFL are really good at this type of zone blocking. They'll find the hole. They'll be patient. They'll make it work. So generally, your halfback will have either your outside. So technically, it would be your 6 hole, your 4, or the 2. Your center would bounce off the nose into the MAC to allow the guard to pop over and take him. Quarterback is going to read the edge. Your left tackle will more than likely go to Will. Some will say, hey, just take on your man. But most zone blocking schemes, and especially in the CFL, are going to be RPO. So if you're going to run an RPO, this is usually how it'll look. If you're going to leave your end exposed, you're going to go to the Will, or you'll just have your left tackle hold on to the edge and just let him dance. Right tackle will wash out your edge. Right guard washes out your in your 3 tech, and your wide receiver attacks that Sam corner linebacker.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question. So let's say if the nose and the tackle they're both in the both A gaps. How are you blocking that? Because now it's not really an over front no more. It's more of a even.
So you got your nose and the one, like you got your 2 1 techs.
Yeah, 2-1 techs.
So 1 tech.
Both are in 1 tech. Yeah, like that. And then you move the mic and the will over the B gaps to the 3
So
tech.
if Mike is over here and
Yeah.
Will kind of lines up kind of inside,
Yeah.
your right tackle will still take that edge. The wide receiver will still take the Sam. That doesn't change. The big thing that will change is you'll have, again, this depends also how athletic your linemen are. But generally, your right tackle will pop and go. Center will pop and go. Left guard will just then take control.
Mm.
So generally inside, again, you're moving to your strong side. You're trying to take whoever is in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
So the right guard would come out, usually it's not even fully engaged. It is literally just coming in and giving that 1 tech a quick little bump, just a little shot in the shoulder, get him off balance, let your center slide over.
Okay.
Same thing, center, if possible, will give that other 3 tech a little, or 1 tech a little shot and allow your left guard to come over.
Now, I'm not trying to get too deep into it with folks because they're like way over their head. I'm trying to this is exciting for me. This is creating some shit. But if you had the nose and the tackle go B, and then you have the mics attack A, if they're run support, because you can mix it up any way you want to, but if you got the nose and the tackle taking B gap, and then you've got the mic and the will taking that one tech, how are you blocking that?
So what? So tackle goes.
Their run
go here.
responsibility change.
So they crash inside, right?
Yeah.
Or technically they crash outside.
Outside, yeah.
And the
Mike
Will and the
both
Mac are
got A.
blitzing inside.
Yeah, like that. Are you going to go head on with that, or are you going to just have them guards focus on the nose and the tackle?
So the way, if you don't think there's a blitz, let's say you're like, oh, there's no blitz, and they end up blitzing.
Mm-hmm.
Right tackle will still end up taking the 1 tech.
Okay.
Center should match up right with that Mac. He should meet him right there. He should just step up into him. This backside is where it could get messy. Your tackle or your guard needs to recognize that man crossing his face. He would leave him. Your left tackle should pick him up,
mm-hmm.
and then the left guard will meet the Will linebacker in there.
Okay, I like that because for me as a defensive coordinator, I ain't gonna give too much to sauce, but I like to disguise, but I also like to mix up my defenses. So we can come out the gate 4-3, but we fuck around and come out in 3-2-6. We can come out different things and mix up the fronts to throw off the offensive line. What's the hardest front for you that you've seen as a player or just as a CFL fan? What's the hardest front for a zone blocking team to block? Because I got an answer for you, but go ahead.
So it's 3-4.
Yeah.
It's the less people at the line of scrimmage will always be the hardest for zone blocking because you don't know what's coming at you, and it is very easy to open up a gap for a defender to get into. So like on a 3-4 if you're going 3-4, technically you're going to be passing the center would pass the nose tackle over to the guard.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be block. Right tackle should just take the edge out. Center and guard are basically just seeing if anyone comes through. You're generally going to leave the backside, because if a defensive player can make a play from all the way over here to a play that's happening on this side of the field, sometimes you just got to tip your hat to the player.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because that edge could also just sit there and scrape. If the play's going away from him, he's scraping. I mean, that's just...
He should be coming right across the line. So what we've done in the past, what I've done in the past is it's called a J block, if I remember correctly. It's called a J block, because as the line, as like the right side of the line pushes over, you actually have kind of the left tackle and the left guard actually end up kind of creating a J look for, in case there's any pressure from this guy, or back end pressure from your will.
Because for us, when I'm looking at this, if we're just flowing with the ball, we're in trouble, because we could overread, our backers could overread the play, especially that the Sam. He's already there. He can overread it. He can get washed out. A lot of things can happen right there. So you guys have the advantage. I'll give it to you. You kind of have the advantage if the defense overreads the play.
Yeah. I mean, here when you line up and I think this is where you would actually probably be more specific on what hole you're trying to open up. This is when you'd call your 22s or your 24s, 21s. You would actually want to target either the left tackle, left guard, or guard center.
Okay, this
is one of those play calls where you'd probably want a specific hole, because let's say again we're going to do strong side. Let's say we're going to do a strong side 22. So it's going to go. He is going to go here. This way, it's actually pretty easy even though they know what hole they're doing, you're still going to have a kick out. You're going to chop and then go up. And then he's going to take. He's going to take. And that's guard. Right guard is going up to the backer. And you trust that in this chaos, either you have your wide receiver taking the Sam backer out of the play completely, or if that backer does cut inside, he gets washed out somewhere between the tackle and the guard with all that movement, and your backer can kind of find a hole.
My only thing, and I'm seeing this now more, as much as I'm studying more how defenses play in the Canadian football, but just to see that they use that Mike is going to take on more double teams, just made double teams, or second level blocking. You gotta. Because do I want to drop somebody down? Do I want to and play inside the box? Do I want to help with that?
Well, here's the thing: is that if you open up or you drop in, it plays into an RPO perfectly.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you have your 8 or your 7 in the box, there's more than likely you're going to have your backer kind of. He's either going to be committed to the pass. You're not leaving this be, again, you won't really see a 4-3 in the CFL, but there are times where you do, and you'll probably have, this is a true nickel, I guess, It'll be just an extra DB. It won't be a true linebacker. You might throw your Sam over to that side and throw a safety down in Sam, because you don't want to leave a will linebacker lined up on the F receiver.
Nah,
Like if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see a 3-4, there's a more likely going to be some sort of blitz or stunt happening.
right.
So
Because if we call,
you're looking at like a quick hitting, you're probably looking for 5 yards. You're not really expecting more, but I'm looking for like I'd be doing slants or quick in, quick out type. Because if I see a 3-4 defense,
you have
I'm
a
assuming
mismatch
there's going to be
somewhere.
a stunt, right? Like I would assume a defender is someone is going to cut inside, and you're going to have either your will linebacker looping around or that B linebacker looping in.
So here in the States, one thing about the 3-4 defense, it all depends on how you want to call it. Fire zone is the bread and butter of the 3-4 defense. That's just weak side blitzes, weak side fire zone blitz, strong side fire zone blitz. You've got different twists. It's nasty. I have yet to really see it in the CFL as of late because it's throwing. There's a lot more throwing, but 3-4, that's what it is. It's just blitzing. We're going to blitz weak side. We're going to sacrifice those A gaps and force you to try to run it down our throats, which works to your advantage. If you got a Brady Oliveira back there, that's working. You want to see a 3-4. You want to see that. Like we're revving up, ready to go.
Yeah, until you throw, because I think this is something you don't see quite often in the NFL anymore. But what you'll see is a guy like Willie Jefferson. I think this is like a prime example of a guy who he does things that don't always sneak into the stat sheet.
Mm-hmm.
You run a 3-4, or you run a 4-3, but you have a guy who can cover. Like you have a D end who can cover, even if it's just a flat. Right? You can turn it into a 3-4 post snap, and that can mix everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Or if you're in that 4-3, you can play a cover 2 flat. You can make the ends drop.
Yeah.
It's nasty what you can do.
Like when I look at it like as a 3-4, I think the one thing I'm always worried about with a 3-4 defense as an offensive guy, like especially as a lineman, like I was like when I was a center, the two things when someone came out in a 3-4, there's always one really hungry linebacker,
Mm-hmm.
especially like you can tell there's some guys who they're a little bit more jumpy on their feet. The biggest thing with a 3-4 is the nose tackle. Because most of the time, that nose tackle isn't actually attacking the center head on. Most of the time, he's going to attack one of the A gaps, engage and intentionally engage for a double team, because one of those inside backers is coming in on the opposite side for a blitz, or both guys are going to come in for a blitz. So one thing that from what I've seen most offenses struggle with is reading those inside backers. I think outside's a little bit easier, especially in the passing game. Running game's a lot harder inside.
Yeah.
Because
well, that's also because you have to see from a linebacker's perspective, am I about to be taken on one-on-one? Am I taking on the guard? Is the guard going to come second level? Is it going to be the tackle? Who's coming at me? So your vision's got to be on point, and you still have to go make the tackle. That's hard.
Yeah. And as this lineman, you have to be communicating, right? Because if he goes and he hits right in that one and hits that guard, 9 times out of 10, you're better off. The center's better off going after the linebacker.
So even in like a passing situation, most of the time in a 3-4, that weak side linebacker is going to go with that. It depends on the side that the running back is on. They could flip, and that weak side linebacker is going to go with the running back. The Mike, he's got to read the keys. His keys is the guard and the tackle. That's wherever that guard goes, he's with it. So it's hard. It's a challenge in 3-4. But if you have the right guys who understand their job responsibility, the 3-4 can stop many things. It's just having the right guys to do it. Now, in CFL terms, it could still work, I think.
It can. You just have to have the good personnel, right? You have to have either strong enough. You need to have a corner who's good enough. You basically need two corner linebackers to effectively run a 3-4.
If we're talking, but it's also more important if you have three guys on that D line who have strictly played 3-4. They are there's for y'all again listening. There are guys that are 3-4 guys. There are guys that are 4-3 guys. It's hard to take a nose that's played in the 4-3 and put him in a 3-4. It's hard to take a nose and put him from a 3-4 into a 4-3. Different job responsibilities. So
100%.
It's rough, man. It's rough.
And like again, football's a chess match. It's a physical. I find it funny. Like I got a lot of flack when I was growing up with this, but for any of the Harry Potter fans who the magic chess, wizardry chess, it's basically that, right? Where the chess pieces break each other instead of moving them off the board. Basically the same concept, in my opinion. And I think for an offensive lineman, the zone blocking is great. Tackles generally you're by yourself. You're generally taking either a linebacker or you're just rubbing the edge out. Depending on if it's an RPO or whatnot, you have your responsibilities. Inside is where you have a lot of the problems, where it's you miss an assignment. I think you see it all the time, where because of a lack of communication inside, that's where defenses can make their play. You pick up the wrong guy, you miss a blitz, you miss a stunt. Those are things that can really hinder zone blocking. Versus where big on big, you don't really see that type of issues arise.
No,
consistently at least.
And most of the time, when offenses go big on big, unless you've got a stout offensive line, and I'm talking like some dogs on that line, big on big works in the favor of the defense. We want that. Our job is attack. Our job is, all right, I'm going to play my gap. I'm going to do my job, but I'm focused on getting you off balance, fucking up your rhythm, fucking up your timing, and I'm going to get in the backfield and make a play.
Yeah. And big on big is not something offensive linemen, like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Smash Mouth football. Let me put your face in the dirt. It's great if you have the offensive lineman to do it. But zone blocking has now turned, and again, zone blocking, when I was growing up playing, when I was learning zone blocking, it was the blocking scheme for the unathletic, unskilled offensive lineman.
Yes.
Right? It was we used it in youth football. It was for the teams who didn't have enough linemen to have a good offensive line. And then I've had other coaches be like, no, zone blocking is just smart blocking. Defensive coaches just hate it. And if you have a defensive coach as your head coach, they might not enjoy, they might not look at zone blocking as an effective blocking scheme because they don't like going against it.
No, and that's why you see a lot of defensive coaches that have been head coaches. They want smash mouth football. They want big on big. They want that's all they want. They don't. They're not. I have yet to see a defensive coach who has adopted the let's just air it out, or let's adopt a zone blocking scheme, or let's focus more on that on the inside and outside zones. I have yet to see that. Well, except for Mike McDonald, he wants to run the ball outside rather than when we had Pete Carroll, which was just run Marshawn down your throat.
Yeah, and again, like both have their uses, both have their proper space in an offense. I think what people don't realize is that like zone blocking is also great on passing plays.
Yes.
Like, and it's honestly more effective in the pass than it is in the run. But you don't hear about it as much because a sack's a sack. It doesn't really matter what zone block, like what blocking scheme you're doing. You give up a sack, you give up a sack. When you see a guy run through the line of scrimmage on a run and get like a 5-yard a 5-yard tackle for loss, there's a clear blocking scheme misconnection there. So
it's crazy.
It's fun. It's a chess match, right? Like there's so much that goes into it that I think doesn't get talked about.
No, it's a psychological game. It's a chess game, but it's also, for me, it's the week leading up to the game. It's during the week where the scouting has to be on point. Everybody's got to do their job. We can't miss anything. That's the fun part. And then it's the gotcha. I got something. And you might not even see it till the third or fourth quarter, but that one play could change the tide of the game. You just don't know it, man. It's fun.
And you talked about tendencies and like film review on how important it is for defenses. I think offense, especially on the offensive line, like your week of like film review is your biggest asset going into it because defensive linemen have tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
Your front seven have like there are tendencies there that can be masked throughout a game. But there are certain players that have tells. Certain coverages have certain tells where guy might be leaning a little bit too forward, or a linebacker might be sitting back on their heels a little too much.
He might tug at his jersey. He might tap this way. It's signals. It's little things that you have to.
It's the details.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I personally didn't care. I grew up very much being told that like I played with coaches that like I don't care if they know exactly what we're gonna run when we're gonna run it. They still need to stop it.
Yeah.
And you have that, you have that faith in your offense. So like we can give them the playbook and they still wouldn't be able to win. And I personally believe that like, it shouldn't matter, especially on the offensive side. It shouldn't matter what the defense knows. What matters is what they don't know.
Exactly.
And what they don't know is your cadence, because you can mix those up.
Oh God, the dummy calls, it's frustrating.
I think pulling in the CFL is a very underrated and underused blocking mechanic in the run game.
Yeah. Pin and pull. I'm surprised I've yet to see a lot of pin and pull.
Yeah. And you would think it'd be more popular. Like the idea of being able to even just a quick switch.
Yeah.
What we call the quick switch was tackle goes in, guard goes out. Where if you're running strong side, we actually we call it the kill switch because it would be the tackle goes
You there? Shane.
Cool. There you go. Back.
Yep. Good.
The tackle, it's called the kill switch. The tackle would go to the 3-tech. The Z receiver, or F receiver, or Y receiver, whatever you want to call it, would go to would crack the edge, and then the guard would pull to the linebacker. And he would it wasn't go it was generally it was a pull. It was he would loop around both and attack the outside linebacker. And we call it a kill switch. Because generally the Sam wouldn't understand what was going on, because you have that receiver running at you, and as the ball's being snapped, he turns and hits the edge. And then the tackle has to bust ass, cover hit the 3-tech, and then you just have this guard who's going after a Sam linebacker or a corner.
Boy, he's gonna have a lot of editing to do.
That's why we record it, and it's not live.
There you go.
But yeah, he would pull around, and he would either go after the corner, or he'd go after the Sam linebacker.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna be very honest. I have gone after many corners. They do not like it when an offensive lineman is coming right at them.
No.
So that's just it. The kill switch, in my opinion, fantastic play call.
Yeah, for y'all.
Hey man, it works. It also keeps the edge at bay.
Mm-hmm.
So we would always do it probably late second quarter, or it'd be one of the first plays in the third quarter, depending on how aggressive that edge, that strong side edge was, or on either side, because you can technically call it on either side, but it depends on how lack of a better term, horny that edge was. If he wasn't,
he crashes, it's
if he's constantly crashing and not containing, it was boom, we'd kill it, and then for the rest of the game, he would be a little bit more conservative.
Hey, I'm gonna keep coming anyway.
So you dip it over the top, because this is where RPOs come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
So
this has been a great episode, man.
Yeah, I think I wish we were seeing less Americanized style of play calling up here, given how much is available.
But you got to promote when most of your players. Well,
like from the motion, like the waggle, to the type of pulls that we
so much
see.
Creativity offensively.
Yes,
and yet I will agree with you. Offensively, I have yet to see that explosive offense. Like what's considered explosive in Canadian football is nothing compared to, and I hate to give them credit, but it's just football. It's facts. Some of these play callers are creating some outstanding plays in the States. I just would expect it in Canadian football more, where the pass is more loved than in the States. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the NFL, even with their limited motion, offensive coordinators use the motion to their advantage.
Mike McDaniels. He uses the shift, not the shift, but the pre-snap motion better than most. He just didn't have the right guys to do it.
Yes. Him going to LA with the Chargers is going to be peak offense next year.
You got Shanahan. You've got Shanahan. You got McVay. You've got McDaniel, who's OC now in L. It's a West Coast offense party up in there, and they run it so different. Same coaching tree. Even Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, very different, but it's all with under that umbrella.
There's so much north and south. There's not enough east and west motion in the CFL.
No,
starting from one end to the and going to the other.
That's what's surprising. Like, there's not enough. Like with Pistol, with most like Winnipeg, for example. Zach is in Pistol a lot.
Yeah.
So why are you not bringing when they had Janarian Grant? Use him. Why Nick Dembski, the ultimate Swiss Army knife? Use him in different ways.
This is like one thing that always pissed me about Condell, because if you watch him early with Hamilton, that's what he was great at. It's where Addison made a lot of his money. It's where, I want to say Luke Tasker, but it's not Luke Tasker, but he was also another guy who made his money off of like quick motion and being able to go from left to right and get the ball moving. Chad Owens did it with Toronto.
One of the best at it.
Fantuz did it. It was a huge part of the game up until like the late 2010s. And for some reason, a lot of these OCs decided to let's just go north-south and not have a lot of side-to-side motion. Let's keep the defenders, ready instead of having them go side to side.
The lack of creativity, because I hope you see a McKisnick, you see some of the young offensive coordinators. I hope that they can bring some creativity to these offenses, and as a defensive guy, it'll make it better for us as a defense to create new things.
Yeah.
Gotta stop something.
And it's not like the players aren't good enough. The players are more than good enough.
It's just getting them out of that comfort zone of what they're used to and making them buy in.
And I think part of it's also you don't have if you limit the amount of changeover year to year, that'll play a huge factor too. Because you're not, you don't have new guys coming in to learn a new offense every winter. Consistency is huge.
Hey, gotta win. How it is. So, but I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Let's wrap it up right here, man. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening to the latest episode of Trench Talk. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was informative to you all. Thank you to Royal Retros for being a sponsor of this video. Make sure to check them out. Link will be in the description for your own Trench Talk t-shirt. Use promo code 13th Man Football to get 10% off your orders. We will catch you back here next 2 weeks with another episode of Trench Talk. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share button. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating. Let us know what you want. If there's anything you want to talk about on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at 13th Man Football, you can let us know if there's any conversations, any questions we can answer during our next episode. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. We will catch you next time. Have a good one.